many angry tweets do you think I'll get for this one? It's Angry Birds, the game that kickstarted what would become a whole new reign in the video game empire. The mobile phone games. It may not have been the first, but none can deny that Angry Birds was a major factor to make mobile phone games as large as they are today. And just what was this revolutionary game about? Birds have eggs, pigs steal eggs, birds shoot themselves at pigs. Oh, also the birds are really angry, probably an important detail. So with the synopsis out of the way, let's go ahead and see just what these furious feathered fowls could do if they were to ever find their way to the world of Super Smash Bros. So getting right into things, the Angry Birds will be pretty light, as birds generally are, what with their hollow bones and whatnot. They'd have 2 jumps, yes, only 2, despite being birds, they're actually incapable of flight, and they'd have no additional movement options. So the first question that I'm sure is on a lot of people's minds, how am I going to be handling the birds design-wise? Would they be strictly in their balled-up classic appearance? Or would they have the designs given to them in the Angry Birds movie, the one that gives them wings and feet? Well, to answer your question, both. I'm gonna be Pac-Manning this one. At default, the birds will have their limbs, but when they crouch or use certain attacks, they'll retract their limbs to take on their bald state. I know this is going to upset some people, since from what I can gather, die-hard Angry Birds fans hate the movie designs with a passion, but I personally don't see why. I think they look perfectly fine. Or maybe getting angry about things is the point? I mean, after all, they are the Angry Birds, so maybe that's just what it is to be a fan? Well, I digress. Upsetting opinions aside, you're probably also wondering why I keep referring to this character as the Angry Birds and not just one character. That's because this moveset will be a composite moveset, pulling from elements of the entire flock to make playing this moveset very much like you're actually playing Angry Birds. But for the sake of avoiding confusion, I will from here on out just be referring to this character as the default bird of this moveset, the leader of the flock, and probably the bird that most people recognize, Red. So with that out of the way, let's jump right into Red's attacks, starting with his jab. He could have a one-hit jab that has him peck straight forwards, which can be spammed to let him furiously peck forwards like a woodpecker. A short-ranged move that can rack up a lot of damage in a short amount of time. His dash attack can have him do a raging tackle attack to knock away anyone in his path. The idea for this move came from the game Angry Birds Evolution, which has the birds charging and ricocheting all over the stage, and is also home to some of the ugliest character designs that I've ever seen in my life. I know I just said the movie designs are fine, but that's only for the main flock. Just, what are these? Like, what? What? Anywho, for the side tilt, this can have Red do a frustrated wing slap, swinging his wing horizontally forwards to smack anyone who's getting on his nerves. For the up tilt, I call this move Hopping Mad. It has Red do a simple jumping headbutt to hit anyone trying to look down on him. The down tilt can be the first move done while balled up, having Red do a quick peck at the ground in a tiff. Another spammable move that's great for racking up damage, just like the jab, but it's actually faster at the cost of a little power. It also has the added benefit of getting Red closer to the ground to avoid higher attacks. Now for Red's side smash, this will be one of the most important attacks in this moveset. It'll have him ball up and shoot himself forwards from the slingshot. Activating this smash causes the slingshot to appear in Red's spot, and as he charges, slowly backs up to increase the stretch of the slingshot. Then when you let go, he fires himself forwards, with him flying further distances the longer you charge it. You are also able to angle this attack, letting Red fly into different notches when shot. Now because this attack is set up to have Red back up from his spot while stretching the slingshot, it could be used for situations like this. Opponent tries to attack you, use the side smash to back away from their attack, launch yourself into them, hilarity and rage ensues. For Red's up smash, it will also be the slingshot, only this time Red shoots himself straight into the air. Pretty much all the same rules apply here as they did for the side smash. For Red's down smash though, this can have him use an innovated version of Birdquake. This was a power-up in a good chunk of the Angry Birds games that lets you shake the whole area to possibly break down some loose buildings, pigs, or both. I also combined this idea though with the special power of the large blue tanager, Tony. He's able to do a ground pound type of attack where he smashes into the ground and causes a shock wave outwards to push away anything within the vicinity. So for this attack, Red will ball up, do a quick hop, then smash into the ground as hard as he can to do a stomping tantrum. Smashing into the ground will cause small shock waves that can launch foes on both sides of Red. These shock waves could also trip foes if they're at lower percents. However, if the foe is directly underneath Red when he uses this move, they won't be launched at all, they'll be buried. But to lift off from the ground, Red's neutral aerial can be another reference to another member of his flock, this one being Bubbles. Red gets all huffy and inflates his feathers out near instantaneously to launch foes who are too close. This is an awkward aerial though, because the actual launching damage can only be dealt at the moment of inflation. Any time after that only deals small flinching damage until Red's feathers shrink back down to normal. For his forward air, Red's rage will boil over and he'll do what pretty much all birds do. Scream! Aside from just referencing real birds, this also references Red's unique skill in Angry Birds too, where he screams to release sound waves to push structures over. Here, it'll just be a very loud attack with foes within earshot of the sound waves being launched away. Excuse me. Hey, will you all get out of here? Shoot! Beat it! Anyways, for the back air, I call this attack the Angry Backhand, where Red simply spins around to smack haters behind him with his backhand. Or back wing, I guess. For the up air, I call this move Flip Out, having Red do a quick front flip to swing his talons overhead from back to front. And for the down air, this attack will pull from the unique ability of one of the more recent members of the flock, Silver the Falcon. This has Red do a quick loop, then violently crashes straight down. This move won't stop on its own unless Red hits the stage, so using it over the blast zone will lead to a stock loss. However, Red hitting foes in his way as he falls are guaranteed to be spiked. Now before I move on, there is actually one little function that all of Red's aerials have, and it relates back to the importance of his slingshot smash attacks. While you're still balled up and mid-flight after shooting yourself from the slingshot, you can actually cancel it into any of the aerial attacks, emulating the idea that you're using a bird ability after shooting your bird, just like in Angry Birds. Red will grab foes with both wings and pummel by pecking at their face, something that birds very much like to do. For his forward, back, and up throws, they'll all have Red load the foe up in a slingshot and shoot them into any of those three directions. And for his down throw, the scariest member of the flock will come crashing down, Terrence. He appears out of nowhere from high up and smashes down on the foe, burying them into the ground. For the Angry Birds special attacks, they'll all represent the main unique abilities of the four prominent members of the flock after Red himself, with the neutral special being the Triple Threat, Jay, Jake, and Jim, aka the Blues. Though instead of Red borrowing their ability, he'll just borrow them, shooting the Blue Bros from a smaller slingshot to turn them into a projectile attack. Tapping the button just has Red fire a single blue, but holding it down lets him hold his shot, pulling the bird back, then only fires it after you let the button go. While holding it down doesn't increase the distance that the blue flies, you can tilt the control stick while you hold it down to let Red aim it into any direction. The blue is gravity affected and disappears not long after it collides with anything, dealing very weak flinching damage. But if you tap the special button again while the blue bird is flying, you can use their unique skill and cause the one blue bird to turn into three, with the two new ones splitting off into new angles to increase the accuracy of the attack. This special can't be spammed, by the way. You have to wait until the blues all disappear before you can use it again. Trying to do so sooner will result in Red attempting to use it, but getting aggravated as soon as he realizes that the blues aren't back to him yet. Now that's the neutral special at its base, but just like with the aerial attacks, you can actually use this move in conjunction with the slingshot smash attacks. And this does actually apply to all of the specials, letting you cancel your flight into any of your special attacks. But unlike the aerials, the specials gain new properties from doing so. Canceling the slingshot smash into the neutral special will cause it to be treated more like how the blues work in Angry Birds, but having the two new blues splitting off from red as if he were a blue instead. Next, for Red's side special, he'll be using the power of the Fast and Furious Chuck. It's a simple move that'll let Red get a speed boost and charge straight forwards horizontally for a charging attack, dealing decent damage and knockback to any foe in his way. If you use this special out of a slingshot, however, he won't just go straight horizontally. He'll charge into whatever angle he was flying into at the moment of activation. The special also gains a small amount of super armor. Regardless of how you use the side special though, Red will always go into free fall afterwards if it's used in the air. Now for Red's up special, he'll lay an egg, pulling from the power of the bird who fights for peace, Matilda. Using this causes Red to lay an egg so hard that it's shot straight down and sends Red into the air, being usable for recovery purposes. The egg laid, though, is actually a small bomb, with it exploding as soon as it collides with anything. Foes hit by the egg take a hefty amount of damage and knockback. They can also be hurt by Red's body as he flies after shooting the egg, but that only deals small flinching damage. And if you choose to use this special out of the slingshot smash, the egg will deal a bit more damage than usual. But again, just like with the side special, regardless of how you use the up special, Red will always go into free fall afterwards. And finally, for Red's down special, his anger will explode as he pulls from the power of Bomb. This literally just makes Red's body explode after a bit of startup, dealing a ton of damage to nearby opponents. Don't worry though, it won't deal any damage to Red, but it does have a bit of end lag, and there is a 10-second cooldown before you're able to use it again. You are also forced into free fall if you use this in the air. I realize that there's a lot of moves here that puts Red into free fall, but he can't fly, so them's the breaks. The down special is also the only special that won't change if you use it out of the slingshot. It's the same regardless of how you use it. So overall, there's pretty much one word that I can use to describe the theming of this moveset: slapstick. Despite being flightless, these birds will be flying all over the place, causing havoc and mayhem wherever they go. Tearing through defenses with a wide variety of unpredictable attacks, these are birds that you absolutely do not want to tick off. For the Angry Birds' final smash, they'll call upon the power of the most dangerous bird of them all. The smash starts with Red pulling out a can of sardines and chucking it forwards. And after it lands, the mighty eagle flies down to snatch it up, completely decimating any foe unfortunate enough to be in its way. Once the can is thrown, the eagle always aims for it and deals a ton of damage and knockback to any foe who even just grazes its body. But on top of that, if the can of sardines collides with a foe, it sticks to them. And when that happens, they better pick a god and pray, because they're about to become the prey. For the colors, as I'm sure many of you probably already guessed from my earlier language, Red is not the only bird from the flock that you can play as. He's just the default costume. He'll have 3 alts, with the first one being the yellow canary Chuck, the second being the black loon Bomb, and the third being the white chicken Matilda. And they'll each have a single alternate color that can reference other birds in the flock, with Red's alternate color being pink, referencing the pink gala, Stella. And while on the topic of Stella, as a fun detail, the Angry Bird shield could be Stella's bubble, though the default Smash shield already looks like a bubble, so they'd probably be hard to tell apart. Anyways, Chuck's alt can make him green, referencing the emerald toucanet, Hal. Bomb's color could be a dirty orange, referencing the Jamaican oriole, Bubbles. And Matilda's color could be a light blue, in reference to a few birds like the Blue Jay brothers, Tony, or even the alien ice bird. And just to bring this up, just like my last video with Makoto, there is a bit of size discrepancy between these 4 birds, but I think it'd be fine if they were scaled to about the same size. It might look a little weird and the limbed forms might need a few design tweaks, but I don't think it's that big a deal. For the Angry Birds stage intro, they crash into the stage in their bald forms as if they were just shot there from a slingshot. Then after quickly regaining their composure, they sprout their wings and legs and get ready for the fight. For the taunts, their first can show a random bug of some kind flying around the bird's head, leading to the bird responding with knocking the bug out. Referencing the various trailers and tunes that the Angry Birds have where they kick the life out of bugs who get too close to their eggs. The second taunt can show the bird getting really angry and start stomping on the ground. And the final taunt can once again show the bird get angry, but this time they get so angry that they just scream. And finally, for the Angry Birds victory animations, the first can show the bird calmly and lovingly snuggling up to their nest of eggs, which is one of the few times we ever see these birds not ready to blow a gasket. The next can at first show a pig on screen obnoxiously laughing, until suddenly your bird crashes into them, launching the pig away and the bird just standing there battered yet triumphant. And their final can show the bird looking up until 3 stars appear above it one after another, referencing the scoring system from the Angry Birds games. And after that 3rd star appears, the bird starts celebrating in excitement. And that does it for What If the Angry Birds Were in Smash? So, if you enjoyed what you saw and would like to see even more characters be given possible Smash movesets, be sure to subscribe. And if you want to support the show and help me be able to make more content for you guys, you can click the join button either below the video or on my main page to become a sponsor for my channel. Doing so will get you access to my private Discord as well as channel emotes. You can guarantee that your name appears in my videos, or even get the option of knowing what if character is coming up next a week in advance. I really appreciate anything that can be contributed. And of course, if you have a character that you want to see be given a possible Smash moveset, leave a comment down below or contact me on Twitter at BrawlFan1 on Twit. I hope you all enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching!